Hello, welcome to Paleo Greenbird. I'm Greenbird, and today in this video I'm going to be flint knapping a piece of flint ridge, and I decided I would do just a quick short video. Yeah, I know I always say short, right? About zigzagging. I know that with flint ridge, like I had mentioned in some of my other videos, it comes a lot of times with square edges, which you'll find with other stones too, but almost always with flint ridge, you know, unless you happen to get it from somebody who cleans it up for you. And you know, so you have to zigzag in order to get rid of that flat edge, and I've never really talked about it. So for maybe some beginner nappers that don't really know what I mean by that, I mean, it is pretty self-explanatory, but you know, why do we do it and what does it benefit the rock? And what that does is that, just think about every time you zigzag, every time you take a strike in one direction, okay, it creates a low point, and you flip it, you take a strike in another direction, creates sort of like a zig and a zag. That's exactly what it is. And each one of those low points is a platform, and that's how you will thin a rock that you know, has flat edges. And I purposefully chose a rock that is somewhat flat already, just for this particular video. I thought I'd just talk a little bit about how I do that. I'm going to use a heavier billet, again, partly because this is flint ridge, which is kind of a tough stone. I mean, this is high grade, so it's glassy and everything, but it's just it's a harder stone. It's not anything close to like an obsidian or a Georgetown flint or Keokuk or novaculite. It's just it's a different animal. So first thing I do always is grind. It's not super critical when you're zigzagging, but I always like to do it anyway because it just gets rid of all the stuff that doesn't want to be there. There's a little tiny bit of water in my bucket. Actually, there's more because it was raining earlier, but I let a little bit stay in there because it helps keep the dust down. Alright, so first thing I'll do is I'll look for the most opportunistic place to take my first strike, to create my first, you know, the beginning to my zigzag. It's thicker over on this side. It's definitely a lot thicker on this side. Although I have a really nice ridge right here on this. So it's almost tempting to take that flake. And you see how the other side of the rock slopes down? So I don't have to worry about a hinge. That's gonna feather out a little closer. It goes down. So if I take this platform right here, I have to clean it up a little bit, and follow that ridge, it'll feather right out. So I don't know. Let's clean that up a little bit and see what it looks like. I think that because this part is thinner, and that's the thickest part right where that platform is, I'm going to take that and see if that thins out a little bit. I mean, that platform is really low. Whenever you have a low platform, you're not going to get a very long flake. But because that divot's right there, goes down, I can take care of all of that concavity that I have here, and it won't stall out when it gets to the convexity. Right? Am I saying that right? Yeah. No, other way around. Convexity on this side, all the way down, and then it won't stall out because there's concavity on the other side. So, I think I am going to billet down for this though. My smaller billet, but I'm going to hit it hard and a little bit high on the platform. Oop, that was a bad strike. That was a bad strike too. Alright, I didn't do myself any favors on that. That's too bad, that's a wasted opportunity. So, take a few flakes just to thin that down a little bit. I am starting to get some steps. Well, I still have that platform though. Let me try it again. I think I should have used the larger billet. hit it a lot harder. Oh yeah. So, all right, so I got rid of some of those steps. I still have a nasty step right there, but I had a lot of chatter. That platform is still there, but I'm not going to be able to undercut this, so I'm just going to go right to the zigzag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a place. In this particular situation, I've got a nice thin spot right here. I'm just going to take a nice straight downward strike. I'm going to tip the rock a little bit towards me. It's not going to be like if I'm trying to drive a thinning flake where I have it tilted downward. I'm not driving down in. I'm going to try and drive straight down just to nibble off that end right there. So my first flake, that's what it looks like. You can see that's the beginning of my zigzag. That's the first downward strike. Now I'm going to flip it. I'm going to take another strike on one of those sides. I have to look at it and see what's going to be the best side to take. This side's thicker. It's probably going to give me some issues. So, although, that won't be too bad. So again, I'm going to tip it towards me, because if I don't, I'm just going to probably break a piece off, and it'll still be square. You're angling it so that when you come in straight down, it's taking a piece off, but it is kind of pushing a little bit of a flake in that direction. And there we go. Gotta really look at it, make sure you're hitting where you want to. I'll show what this looks like in a second. A bit of a zigzag. You might have to angle the rock a little bit, depending upon what type of a surface you have that you're hitting on. If your platform's kind of funky and you feel like you need to turn it a little bit in order to get a nice clean flake off, then that's what you have to do. So I'm just flipping it every time. At this point, it doesn't have to be pretty. You just have to do it. I've got this thick edge right here. Okay, so let's take a look at what it looks like so far. So you can see that waviness in there. Those are all going to be platforms. Way better than a flat edge. But well, that thick edge is going to be kind of a pain. I'm going to keep going in this direction because there's something else I want to talk about when we get to it. So I'm just going to keep zigzagging, trying to keep those angles. You want to make sure when you're taking your angle that you don't want to create a turtle. You do want to drive the flake. And every once in a while, you may find that you have to take a second flake from the same side. That's okay. Don't get caught up in the fact that you're totally zigzagging. If your intuition tells you that you need to take a flake from that other side, then you do. So we're back at that thick edge. I'm probably going to lose a little bit of mass here. I'm going to try and angle it as best I can to get rid of those flat sides. Alright. So we did. We got rid of that flat edge. And what I was going to talk about earlier was this side right here that's, I don't know how to explain it, but it looks like it's not going to be part of the point ever because of just how far off and the angle that it's at. It'll be hard to drive flakes. You can drive the flakes this way, but then what are you left with when you come this way? Because there's such concavity compared to the rest of it. But while taking off that thick edge, we did sort of leave ourselves some opportunity. We're probably still going to end up thinning more on the top edge. It's going to be hard to drive a flake in this direction towards me because of the way that that slope goes down like that. You have to raise that edge. It's going to be the only way to get a flake to go this way is to raise the edge upward so that you have a platform coming towards me. Good example is right here. You can see that smile. That will drive a flake all the way across that across that edge. Whereas right here, we have smiles on the bottom, but when you flip it upward, there's really nothing there's no material to drive off here. I mean, you can try and hit it from this direction, slide over a little bit, and maybe get lucky, but we're probably going to be just losing a little bit of the width on this rock, and that's okay. That's one thing that I would recommend, is that let the rock be the point it wants to be. Just suck it up, spend the money on the rock that you have to buy, make a good point. So there we go, there's zigzagging in a nutshell. You can see we took off those flat edges, so now we have that waviness. We probably could do a little bit more on the tip here, but as we start to work this stone, that will self-correct. And all those low points that you see, low points on this side, and then when you flip it, low points on this side, those are all platforms. Now, you might naturally get a little bit of a turtleback, that's what they call it, when you're doing this, if one side happens to be a little bit more convex than the other, which in this case we did have one side that was a little bit more convex. So that's not a big deal. That just means when I'm taking off my thinning flakes, I need to be cognizant that I need to be taking off flakes on this side first, and maybe even a little bit more aggressively than on this side. And in this, you can see I have a nice little pocket of quartz right here. I'd love to make that part of the point, but we'll see if it survives. So I hope this explains zigzagging a little bit. You're just creating that wavy form. You're keeping the rock relatively tipped upward so that you're not driving flakes. You're just nibbling off the edges, making it so instead of being square, it has that wavy zigzag pattern, which become your platforms, and that's what's going to thin your preform, your biface, your point, whatever stage you're at. So, beautiful piece of flint ridge. Hope I can keep that quartz in there. And I really appreciate you watching these videos. If you have any questions about this, if this was too short or I didn't explain anything properly, just let me know, leave a comment. And until next time, appreciate you watching. Please share, please like, please subscribe. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And this is Paleo Greenbird. I'm signing out.